It's another Zero RB Friday here on Splash Play, streamed draft number 84 for me on the docket. And today's a special day. You're going to be joined by one of the best men in best ball, I'll say. A fine member of the Squirt Squad as well. One of the leaders, I'd say. Our guy Bindles coming up. Of course, I am already in a draft room. Wait, I didn't put my Chiron. Don't forget, four-time BBM DK Millie finalist. That's the important thing to remember about me. Of course, already in a draft room here. Going to get Bindles on as well. Let me get to this. Where is this one? There we go. There's Bindles. Bindles, thank you for joining the stream today. Of course, you won the illustrious giveaway here to be a guest host on Splash Play. How do you feel here in this magical moment being on camera on a channel being watched by a couple dozen people?
I feel absolutely glorious with my glorious leader Spags bringing me on, and I feel honored to be here on the channel with you, man. So yeah, appreciate you bringing me on.
So we're picking at the 1-2 turn here. We're going all the way at the end of the round, so we got a lot of time to fill up top. So give me your thoughts overall. I always like when we have people on, I want to kind of know how you're viewing the space. And Bindles, to his credit, is one of the more prolific streamers out there, doing every night, booking different guests and all that. He's the coach on a lot of streams as well. I was watching Bindles with Nez this week, enjoyed that stream quite a bit. Felt like you got a lot of good takes out of Nez that maybe isn't even giving out as much on the Badge Bros on a day-to-day basis. But what are you trying to do for yourself this best ball season?
Yeah, I'm I just really started going heavy into it a few months ago. And yeah, it's really just cool to see the best ball space growing. I mean, I've been watching you, I've been watching Pete for, I mean, honestly, it feels like, I don't know exactly the date, if it's 2021 or if it's 2022, but like years now. And now it's just crazy. Like everywhere you look, like every fantasy football outlet is doing best ball streams. As you said, like I'm always in the streets and trying to watch streams, comment on streams, whatnot. But like even I can't catch up, which is crazy to say. But yeah, man, I just love the community aspect of it, and love to hear everyone getting their takes off. So it's just been a fun 2024 so far, and I'm really excited for the rest of the summer. So yeah.
All right, so we're picking for a couple picks here. And I mean, I would go Harrison and London here. I'm happy to hear your thoughts, though, because I don't want to completely drown you out as a man that's got your own takes.
Yeah, I think I would go London Wilson.
Well, I'll give you London. We agree on London.
Okay.
I really, Garrett Wilson. Are you
just scared of the Rodgers, everything around Rodgers, or what? I'm honestly just interested because I know you've been taking Harrison, but I just don't know what your take is. Why one or over?
I'll do it. You know, Bindles has been this is how much of I will say a cosign to how great Bindles has been for the community that I will take Garrett Wilson here, even though I would greatly prefer Harrison. For Wilson, to me, it's just that he has not been a positive EPA receiver 2 years in the league now. People are going to blame the QB play. It's still, you're getting that much volume. To me, you should be able to move the sticks, should be able to do things that add value to your team on that level. I think also there's a little bit of a price lock here where the first year he was in best ball, he was too cheap. After that, the market overcorrected. Now they keep putting him here. And I got it last year. Like I get making the bet. But if you really think about it, like Rodgers wasn't even a good fantasy QB the year before last when he played a full year. He did create enough value for a couple of receivers there. Christian Watson, I think, being the most noteworthy. But besides that, it just was not a player to me that I think is going to create a huge successful offense. And the Jets, like you can talk me into Brees getting there. The defense is really good. Aaron Rodgers needs the pressure taken off of him to be effective at what he does. But for Garrett Wilson, I think the hope is he becomes Devontae Adams, and I just don't think he's that. And they've added enough guys there too that just take enough volume away from him that I just don't see the upside. That's my case against him, and it was a long one, Bindle. So what's the case for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say the same thing about Marvin Harrison Jr., but like it's really just like the eye test. Like I don't know, like I am like a very like I use analytics and like my work and everything, and I would say I'm like a little bit of an analytically driven person, but I also just like I played football, and like I don't want to say I'm a film bro whatsoever, but like I think you can go either way there. Like I don't really have a strong take between those two. I think they're both extremely talented young receivers. So it's not like I want 20% Garrett Wilson and 4% Marvin Harrison. I want to be somewhere in the middle, but yeah, I'll be switching it up between. Honestly, like after AJ Brown, I kind of view this whole tier like honestly until like Waddle-ish around the same. So I'll be the streamer and just say I want to get my exposure to all of them and not have a super strong player take. So
okay, that's reasonable too. Like I get it. I don't think I want to be 0 on Wilson, though. I would be closer to 0 than 16%, let's say.
Sure.
So that's really the main take for me. And I gave my stance on it. We'll see what happens with it as the year goes on. I just feel like his ADP alone, like he's the one receiver that they add Mike Williams, they add in other guys, they draft Malachi Corley. Nothing changes for him. Alan Lazard, the safety blankie for Aaron Rodgers, running with the first team again. It doesn't, and that shouldn't change Garrett Wilson either, but like there's still bodies there that are just going to take some work away. And if Breece Hall's going to hit in the way people want him to hit, like he's got to take something away too. But that's the bet, really. I do want to point out Diggs going at 19 here. Where do you fall in the great Diggs Nico Collins debate, Bindles? Because to me, that's one I think Diggs should go higher. I think the markets so far disagree, but I'm curious to see if it changes. And Diggs being out of OTAs probably doesn't help.
Yeah, so I was famously a very big Diggs guy this offseason. Like I do some dynasty content as well, and best ball. And so yeah, I was very high on Diggs. So I guess I should probably like as he moves to a team that where they're gonna have even more passing volume, and he does get a little bit more competition, but I very, very ever so slightly lean Nico Collins just because I think he is the X. So I think he'll be on the field more. And I think him and Dell will rotate a little bit more at the other two wide receiver positions. So I don't know if that really matters. I want all three of them just for the offense, but the ever slight edge goes to Nico Collins over Diggs, but it's not a strong take whatsoever. It's just like, if he's there, I'll take him a little bit more often, but definitely want my Diggs shares as well. So.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me with Diggs is really, and I've given the take before, but like I'm shocked to see him fall so often in rooms where I've gotten him at 31 in a room. I've seen him go in that range in picks where I didn't get him. I just think he's been the best target earner, one of the best targeters in the league.
Yeah.
Out of that trio, he's the best target earner. Granted, it was a Buffalo room; it's going to be a little bit different. I get the trust that Stroud has with Tank, wanted him on the team. I get how people are excited to see Nico balance out, but nobody ever questions like Nico's first few years were really bad. Then Stroud comes in, he's really good. I think you're finally combining a player who's good. Like we know Diggs is good in multiple different offensive environments with Stroud, who's going to make guys better. And I think if that's the glow up he gave to the first few years of Nico to what we saw last year, what can he do with a guy who's like a legit beast? And I think Diggs is that. But again, really wish he were in OTAs because that's kind of an important part of the equation. We're on the clock though. We do have Trey McBride, Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs. I am sorting by mine. We can go up and get a Tank Dell, a Zay. Where are you leaning, Bindles?
I say we take one receiver here. So let's go. Do you want to go Flowers or Dell? Do you have a take between those two?
Let's go Tank. I think we've talked Houston. Whenever we talk Houston, I feel like I'm feeling frisky for him. So let's go Tank with one of them. Elite QB, elite tight end, running back. No,
I don't usually
really
take Josh Allen. So, and it's hard to like, I don't know if we're going to get a Kincaid or someone falling back. So I don't know if I lean that way. I'm fine with Flowers if we just want to go the week 17 stuff there and see if a quarterback falls to us. So I think Flowers probably.
Yeah, I like the little mini week 17 thing. I actually do a good amount of mini Houston Baltimore just because it's going to be hard to get the big chunks of the stack in a lot of drafts. But if you get little, Nico with a bring back of Zay and somebody or Nico, I don't know. Really, it's a lot of Nico to me and a couple of Ravens bringbacks. But like Tez Walker late, you could go theoretically Andrews with them. Houston, Baltimore, I think the main stack will be chalky. I guess you have any reads so far? You're doing more streams than most people out there. Any takes so far and like what'll be the chalk week 17 stacks based on what you've seen?
Definitely the CMC Laporta. I've seen a ton, which seems really gross. Like I get it. Like it's nothing is in a vacuum. So it's like you want to probably get some. But I'm not super into CMC this year, especially over those top like Lamb through Jefferson or maybe even Amon-Ra receivers. I don't know. It's like, obviously he just absolutely broke the slate last year, but it's like, do we want to keep making this bet over and over and over and over again when he's now 28 years old? So yeah, I think that, and then yeah, the Houston and Baltimore one is definitely like, people are going to get that whatever way they can. And then I'm trying to think what other ones. Yeah, I want to go back to the Diggs thing really quick, actually, because yeah, I think he was. This is something I was talking about before he got moved to Houston, but it's like it's just so much variance in the end of the season last year with like them switching coaches mid-season. I think he was I forget what the injury was, but he was injured at the end of the season, and it's like I don't think Diggs fell off. Like I think people are like, oh, he had a bad second half of the season and he fell off from like a talent perspective, and like I just don't think that's the case. And I think older receivers, like they kind of are who they are until they really, really fall off. And I don't think he's hit that point yet. So that's kind of a tip into your hat in terms of your Diggs take. Cause I just still think he's really good. Like, yeah, he's a diva and he's kind of an a-hole, but like, I don't know. I think he's still good. So,
I mean, he just wanted out of Buffalo, I think. Like, I think there was enough signal with his brother making the stuff. And he's like, well, my brother doesn't speak for me. But it's like, okay, come on. We kind of know there's some conversation going on there. And then the effort. And Joe Brady, too, to his discredit, like, I think Joe Brady figured out a lot of things with that offense, but he did not figure out how to keep Diggs happy, did not feed him the targets that he wanted to see. So the hope is that you get him resurgent here. Now, again, like, I do think for a guy like Diggs, I just don't think he's great. He's not at OTAs. Like, I think he's got to kind of be all in. And, in year one, like, he was great year one in Buffalo. He was great, obviously, at parts of his Minnesota career. So I think for Diggs, the hope is that we're getting that Diggs that's a renewed guy. But I'm not sure that, like, I'm the most confident in that. Do want to point out, too, that Jalen Hurts at 25, Josh Allen at 41 in this room ends up feeling like kind of a bad pick for this guy to get Jalen Hurts, especially like if you're going to reach for Hurts here. Doing Lamb at 101 might have been more fun. Get the Philadelphia Dallas week 17. That is really impossible to hit with how the board aligns right now.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, because if you went Lamb there, I feel a lot more comfortable with that start. Just getting the week 17 and building out a 0 RB room with that start. Whatever. Like I know you're a 0 RB guy. I think I would call myself a 0 RB guy. I don't want to be like a 0 RB zealot because I do want to switch it up sometimes. It was funny having I had Nez on the other night, and he was kind of pushing back and just saying, like, I think some of these RBs, like the Jacobs, ETN, different range, like they're kind of undervalued in terms of the scoring that they can provide. But it's always that weird balance you're where it's like the wide receivers just by ADP are getting pushed up, and in some of these rooms are getting pushed up so much. So how do you, right? Like, unless you truly think Josh Jacobs is going to go absolutely nuclear, it's like, it's hard for me to justify it, I guess. So,
yeah. And this would also be the flip side to the Hurts thing as well. Hurts went 47 in a pug draft. The pug, by the way, that had to be the fastest filling tournament in history. It wasn't even 24 hours. That was crazy.
Dude, it was like 8 hours. That was crazy.
Yeah, it's the enthusiasm of these tournaments. And again, people have said on social media, and I'm sure that they're hearing it as well, that, people really do want to see Underdog pushing more tournaments out there because DraftKings is pushing out a lot of different formats, different price points and all of that. And there's been less of that. Terry McLaurin goes. So I can't put my stamp and get us a Washington bring back for Atlanta. Picks coming up here, Bindles, though. Anybody on the board you're seeing that's one of your favorites? Let me sort by ADP instead of my ranks. But anybody who's a favorite of yours?
I mean, I'm always down for an A-Rich for the jersey if we want to switch it up. We do have Houston, so we could go Mixon without the quarterback. We could go. I'm not a big Jaden Reed guy. Maybe I should be. I feel like I've heard good takes on him, but it's just like there's so many options in the offense. Wait, did someone just? Oh, I was gonna say Pitts.
Yeah, Pitts is gone now. Unfortunately, yeah, we got that guy got taken from us, McLaurin. So we lost two fun things. We could take Joe Mixon first. I mean, this isn't. Well, we should take one more receiver, then Joe Mixon ceremonially. So okay. Jaden Reed. Oh, Marquise Brown. Actually, a lot of camp reports about going deep for Kansas City. We got Baltimore, or we got Houston.
Yeah, I'm fine with Hollywood first, and then
Mixon.
Yeah,
I don't want to pass up AR, but I think Mixon makes more sense for this team to end the 0 RB run.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we'll go Mixon here. So we have our bet on Houston, Baltimore. We have also our bet on KC and Houston for Week 16. Are you buying Marquise Brown? I think so. Like, they were a downfield throwing team enough. The Chiefs were last year. Like, the issue is the downfield balls were going to MVS. Going to Justin Watson. There was a lot of prairie yards there, not a lot of conversion of it. But I do think Brown, the big bet on him to me has really been that I think that he can see something there with Rashee Rice missing whatever portion of the year he's going to miss. But now we're talking about a better downfield thrower. And if he just absorbs those two roles into one, that alone could give him some upside. I'm not huge on the talent of Marquise Brown. I think he's one of those guys people liked before because he had a couple spike weeks for him. But for him now, like, I like him at pick 60. I like him more than Worthy. Worthy goes 49 here. I know that I agree with the discrepancy between them in some rooms.
Yeah, I definitely think I'd take Brown. And it's like Brown is like the weird play where it's like whatever KC receiver hits is going to be undervalued. And I just think Worthy, rookie, KC, like, I just don't know if they're going to like rush him into a role like we saw it with Sky Moore. We saw it with whatever, just like a lot of receivers in the last couple of years. Even Rashee Rice didn't really come up until the second half of the season. You have the Rashee Rice factor in terms of whatever, maybe he's suspended. I don't think it's going to be as much as people think. I think it'll probably be like 4 or 6 games, and maybe it gets whatever, like he whatever gets it down to even less than that. So I think Marquise Brown is just like, I still think he's solid enough, and he's also kind of a weird like contingent bet against whatever Kelsey falling off, Rice being suspended for longer than we think, and Worthy just starting slow. So it's like, it's not even so much about Marquise Brown. It's about the Chiefs and the guys around him. And so, yeah, I think this is a perfectly fine range for him. And I'll definitely will have my 8 to maybe 12% of him because I want to bet on the Chiefs. So.
Yeah, I think he's in a good situation too, where even if Worthy does hit, like, and I think Worthy's best shot hitting is Rashee Rice out at least 4 games. And I think at least 4 games is safe. I think now that the other case got dropped, the photographer not pressing charges, I thought that would have pushed him to 8. But maybe the fact that it happened, like there was a commissioner's kind of, he does have some ability to have some wiggle room if he needs to go above and beyond. And the players, I don't think the players even need to push back too hard. But I would say for them though, like even if Worthy hits, even if Rashee Rice is there and he's good, anybody being good underneath is going to open things up for Marquise Brown downfield. And I think that's the biggest part to him is he just needs to absorb the roles that were getting those air yards last year. Still think the Chiefs are going to be, if the defense can hold up like they did last year, I don't think it's going to be a team that's necessarily, throwing 40 times a game now. I just don't think that's where the best QBs go. They get more efficient as they go. They don't have more volume. But I think for Marquise Brown, there's a couple really good outs, and just he might be the guy that scores the most points from Kansas City overall, just because of the fact that he's getting those downfield balls that nobody else can really get on the team. We got a lot of member chats. So let's hit these real fast. Community, good guy, Bindles, plus our daddy Spags. Get those likes up. Give thanks. Shout out to our guy Tyler, 11 months here. 11 months also for Robert Griffin III, the arms race to be the longest member here. Longest time spent as a member, maybe also the longest member. 11 looks like 2 dongs, 1 for the wrinkle and 1 for the dirts. Okay. I just shouldn't have read that out loud, but I guess I have to. And shout out to Nez here. Again, Nez did a great job. Check out the stream that he did with Bindles as well, especially if you like the Badge Bros. I thought Nez really got to cut loose of his takes and all that. So did you get anything good from Nez like that you felt was like you want to bring to the people here? Because I thought Nez was really spitting some gems. You mentioned the running back thing, but anything else from him besides just general Steelers malaise?
Yeah, we surprisingly didn't talk Steelers that much, other than I had to get his Justin Fields, Russ Wilson take. But I think he was standing a little bit for Debo in the second round there as his guy. So I definitely love to see a Debo guy. So that was really nice. And then I think, just it was pushing back against the quote touts of just taking some of those running backs, Josh Jacobs, one of them, and some of the other guys where it's like so many receivers are going off early that these running backs at a certain point, they do become a value as long as you can build out the structure around it, which I think if you're a solid drafter, if you're watching a bunch of Spags streams and getting that good alpha, I think you can recover from it. So don't be so I find myself always trying to push back against my biases, whether that be drafting a lot of 0 RB or whatever, even player takes from a best ball perspective. I don't want to just be comfortable with any of my takes. If someone can make a good case for something, then I'll shift it. And I don't want to be having take lock. I think that's the hard part is I am such a dynasty virgin as well. So I come from more the player takey side, and I still have those. I think later on, I'll lean into those a little bit more, past pick 100. I'm a little bit more willing to get my exposures up and get my player takes off. But the first 100 picks, it's I don't want to just miss out and not have a chance to make the finals or whatever, just because I'm okay, well, I don't believe in this guy. I don't want to be that guy. So
I think it's a fair way to look at it. So we're on the clock here. We got Chicago, Vegas, Pittsburgh running backs here. Jameson Williams would be our wide receiver 6 because he's going to get steamed up, and he would definitely put a bow on this team.
I'm trying to think through correlation. You want to go JMO first?
I think it's fun. To do that. I probably like Swift the most out of this next tier of guys. We do have Pittsburgh though for KC and Baltimore. So a Jalen Warren, Najee. I like Swift more than Najee, but I think for the build, we'd get more week 17 correlation with Najee here.
Because I'm just trying to think, because otherwise Seattle, it's either going to be a Lockett and we already have a lot of receivers, or no fan. So I don't know if it makes sense. I'm fine with Najee. I'm honestly fine with Evan Ingram, but I don't really want to push running back more since we took JMO. So let's go Najee.
Okay, yeah. I think Najee makes us a little more firm. Definitely some dust to the RB room with Mixon and Najee, but I think good rolls. Let's give the team a read. So we're a 0-2-6-0 on 0 RB Friday. So I did feel like maybe we went a little early with Mixon to break up the 0 RB, but if we get 6 wide receivers through 8 rounds, I think that's functionally a 0 RB team. So Mixon, Najee Harris, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Marquise Brown, Jamison Williams. So theoretically, we could do some, Buffalo, not going to get much stacking there that we can get our way. I guess receiver-wise, we could do it. We could also take a Raid Davis for some correlation at running back. Atlanta, Washington guys, we can have later, perhaps. We'll see. I like the wide receiver room, though. I think this is a nice, 6 wide receiver room. And guys, too, I think Brown and Williams could come up more from where they are.
Yeah, and it's I like whatever. We have a lot of young ascending receivers and whatever. That always feels good. In the I know Sean Siegel is always talking about where can these guys go next year? If we're thinking about from not a dynasty perspective, but where are they going to go in redraft next year? It's all these guys I think have outs to being whatever second or at least 2-3 turn picks next year if everything goes well. Yeah, Zay Flowers too. I didn't get to get my take off on him. I think he had that weird in the playoffs where he fumbled at the goal line. BPL Dusty. And I think the most recent thing we've seen stands out so much in our mind. And I think he's obviously already going pretty high, but I think the takes might be even higher on him if because that would have been, he already had a 20 something point game. He would have had over a 30-point game in the playoffs there. And I think people would have been just whatever, even more all over him. So I'm a believer in the Ravens and I'm a believer in Zay Flowers' talent. So definitely a guy that I want a lot of, especially if I can get him with the week 17 correlation. So
we got our buddy Paul here was asking our takes on Najee. Double-digit TDs seem inevitable for Najee. I don't know about inevitable. I think, you have a decent shot of getting at least the rushing portion of Bijan Robinson's year, that he got last year with Arthur Smith being the helm, the genius, of course, as we all call him, behind it all. But I feel like for Najee, to me, I just don't see Jaylen Warren being the goal line back. I think Warren was solid last year, but he did regress a little bit in terms of the EPA stuff. Still the high avoided tackle rate, but was closer to where Najee was, where they're basically the same player in that backfield. I think fundamentally, to me, Najee is just a bet on Pittsburgh being conservative, running the ball a lot, and him soaking up those touchdowns. I know there's a lot of exciting about him, Bindles, but do you feel any differently? Is there more to the eye with Najee in a year where he's planning for a next contract, if nothing else?
Yeah, I think it's based. I don't have a super strong take. I want a little bit of both Najee and Warren. I think the leg up effect is just pushing up Warren a lot. I still like Najee a little bit better just from whatever. I just think he'll consolidate more touches and we are playing half PPR. So I do think the touchdowns are a big element. And I think he could, I don't think it's inevitable that he's going to get 10 touchdowns, but I do think it's in the range of outcomes that he gets even more than that, whatever, 15, 12 touchdowns, which for half PPR seems really nice at this cost. So yeah, definitely. I haven't historically been a Najee guy, but at this cost, it's hard to pass him up.
Yeah, that's actually a good point by Dylan here. So Chance Patterson steals 20% of the work. That is always the threat of him at least getting those gimmicky touches. And those touches, even if they're not traditional touches that Najee would get normally or Jaylen Warren would get, those still take away from the overall pie enough that he could matter more. I still think Najee, though, being the goal line back, it's okay. And I think Russ, too. I do believe Russ will be the starter there. There's an Athletic article I've talked about enough times on stream this week that came out from Mark Kabuli. And I really feel like based on the words he used there and the verbiage about Wilson being locked in as a starter, that felt very team source to me. And a Russ team really, I think them running the ball, keeping it conservative, keeping Russ out of danger, it's probably priority number one. So Najee's not the most exciting player, but it's a bet that he can make.
Yeah. You know what? I actually, I forgot to, cause when I put my webcam on, but I have my splash.
Oh, there we go.
Because this webcam is really zoomed in, so so I don't get to show off my merch, but I had a Badge Bros shirt on with Naz, and I had the splash play for you. So I got to support my guys.
So if Jaden Daniels goes, I was gonna say we should get Jaden with an Atlanta thing, but it's okay. We're not gonna get that here. Brian Robinson would be an okay bet. Pollard, a little bit of a discount at this point, which I think we should probably scoop the discount on Pollard.
Yeah, you want to go Pollard? I haven't gotten a lot of him, but I'm down to do it.
Yeah, so let's go Pollard. And you know what? Well, let's see. We got Tennessee plays Jacksonville week 17. Nothing there. I think we just maybe another running back here. We don't need to go up and get QB for ourselves yet.
Yeah, this receiver. Is there anybody? I mean, we're pretty good at receiver too. We have 6. There's no tight ends here. I'm fine with Benson or B-Rob. I like both of those guys.
B-Rob, I think, for the week 17 with Atlanta. Let's do that, even though we didn't get Jaden. So we get B-Rob here. 4 running backs so far. Mixon, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, and Brian Robinson. I kind of think that, I mean, Pollard's ADP is top 100. I feel like we got 4 top 100 running backs, really, with how Brian Robinson should be priced and where he is priced. So Mixon, Harris, Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Marquise Brown, and Jameson Williams. So nothing correlated for Jameson, but in general, we've got pretty densely layered week 16, week 17 correlation for everything besides Garrett Wilson at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is like really, like, I think the way we played the pockets is really nice, where like we get our 6 receivers through the top 100 picks, and we get our kind of like not sexy, but just volume RBs with 4 of those. And then we can probably add a 5th, like sometime whenever it falls to us. But it really just allows you to take what falls to you throughout the rest of the draft, which I really like, not being boxed into taking guys, because whatever, you never know. Sometimes there can be a receiver run. Sometimes there can be a running back run. And like after probably like Ty Chandler, maybe Antonio Gibson, running back is really gross right now, just with the lack of information on RB2s and whatnot. So I kind of do like to lock up my RBs, even in a 0 RB room, like kind of by pick 150-ish. Whatever. It depends on how the build goes. But yeah, I haven't drafted a lot of Pollard. I'm not opposed to it though, like especially at that much of an ADP discount. And B-Rob is a guy I have been standing for this offseason, just because I think he'll get the boost with the rushing quarterback and Jaden Daniels. I mean, Eckler, I've seen some people pushing back now that maybe he just was injured last year, but I still am of the opinion that he's pretty dust, and I don't want to be betting on the 28-year-old running back. So offense should be getting better, getting the efficiency boost with the running quarterback. And if he's just younger James Conner for the Cliff Kingsbury offense, I think he could be a really good pick in this range. So.
Yeah, I think if nothing else, having the goal line role in that offense is going to be pretty positive. You'll have Jaden theoretically taking some away, though. Jaden, one of his things is that, and I think this is something I probably haven't pointed out enough about Jaden, he's not a great red zone runner, like because of the fact he's a little bit slighter and doesn't seem like he can take the punishment like a Lamar, like an AR can theoretically, like a Josh Allen can in the red zone. So that could open up more opportunity for him to just be more of the, the diversionary part of an RPOs thing where he hands it off to Brian Robinson and has success on that. So I think that's something with Robinson too. Just if you're going to go into the football logic for Robinson having some decent touchdown equity with Jaden, who's a mobile QB, I think that'd probably be the logic to make it justify. But really, just Washington scoring more points is like the main thing. If Jaden's good, if Jaden throws like the John Dotson clip over and over and over again, which is what I think he's capable of, then Brian Robinson is just going to kind of rise with that tide. Do you have a lean on Tyjae versus Pollard relative to ADPs? Because Pollard, we got at a pretty big discount here, 14 pick discount, but Tyjae is still 13 picks later, and I think the ADPs shouldn't be that far apart. My guess, as I've said a few times on stream, I think it's 60-40 Pollard based on the contract money, but these guys functionally very similar players in that offense, and that's what the quotes have been so far. But do you have a lean between the two?
I definitely lean Spears. I just think he has more juice. Like I know Pollard definitely came on at the end of the season last year, and they gave him the contract. But if it's like, because what Pollard's regular ADP is like 94 or something. I believe. So if there's that much of it, like 20 picks or 15 picks, I'll definitely get more Spears. And I'll take Pollard if he falls to us like he did. I mean, I'm definitely a guy who will take the ADP discount. I'm not going to pass it up. But yeah, I think Tyjae, I think he had 70 catches last year. So I think he is like just a very talented pass catcher. He has the explosiveness, which is always useful. And I think the way that Tennessee is going to use their running backs, which we've seen from some of the beat reporters and the coach speak, it's going to be kind of just like a 1A, 1B, like rotating drives type of offense. And with that being the case, I want the guy who I think has more juice and has the pass catching upside. So yeah, I think I don't know, but I will place my chips on the Spears side based on the cost.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think just anytime you're taking the cheaper back is something that's going to help out. Like, and frankly, that's something that over the course of BBMs, like I've done that a lot. Where a couple of years ago, I was like, Ramondre shouldn't be cheaper than Damian Harris, and Ramondre ended up being one of my biggest stands. Obviously, fucking Christ, we can't get Kirk back either. Really getting scooped. We're gonna have to be creative at QB, I
Yeah,
think. All right, we're
learn
on the
backdoor
clock.
Drake May, buddy.
So I think we can do Dalton Schultz as tight end here, get another bet on Houston, get the Houston stack without
Yeah.
Stroud. I'm just in the bag for Dalton Schultz generally. So let's leave him in the queue while we debate the second pick. Correlation wise,
Yeah, we don't have a lot of correlation stuff.
no, we have. Well, Gabe Davis would correlate with the bet on Tony Pollard, I suppose.
Oof.
Though we need to set up a QB stack really at receiver if we're going to take anybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to see because what else can we do here? Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Wicks or Downs guy, but we can't backstack that out.
We could just go. We could go Lloyd for now and be done at running
Yeah,
back.
I actually like that because I really like Lloyd.
Okay, so we're ahead of ADP on him. Of course, as you can see with my ranks on the screen, I've got him ranked much more highly, and I'm comfortable at this point. If I like Charbonnet, but like, am I losing a lot not taking Charbonnet and Ford over Lloyd? Maybe Ford. I don't know. I feel like those guys to me, Bindles. I don't know how you feel about it because the market is the market, but I think Lloyd should be much closer to Charbonnet and those guys than he should be. I don't know, the Kamani Vidal kind of guys.
I 100% agree. Like, I just think, yeah, like I just I am not a huge Josh Jacobs guy, and I also just think like Marshawn's going to get a lot of like just standalone role, and then he obviously has a contingent upside. So it's like, why is he going? I don't know what his ADP is right now, but like, he should be going. I don't know, probably right. Like, I think him and Blake Corum should be going probably back to back. Like, Blake Corum probably has more pure contingent upside if Kyron were to like just miss a lot of time. But I don't think Corum is going to get a ton, if Kyron is healthy, a ton of just standalone work. So, yeah, I don't get why he's going so far back as where he is. I think every time you have that, I mean, honestly, like, what's the difference between, I guess Spears is a little bit more, like I said, they'll be rotating, so he'll get a little bit more work just out of the gate. But I still think Lloyd, they're going to mix him in. I like the offense. I like the coordinator. So yeah, all that to say, I think you should be going higher up, and I don't mind your 128 ranking. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I think, like, I don't think he's a Kendre Miller last year either, where, like, I mean, Kendre's biggest issue is he started that camp unhealthy and then couldn't play in the first couple of weeks when Kamara was suspended. But I think he's a guy that's coming in that, like, comes in with a role, whereas, like, you know, guys like Kendre last year, guys even like Roshan, like guys that I did like Charbonnet too, who ended up earning a role. But those guys like had to earn a role, whereas Marshawn Lloyd, I believe, is being given a role. And you look at the profile too, like a lot of Hayden Winks' tweets show, you know, historically, like I keep getting on my For You page, even when it's like ones from the NFL draft, where it's like Marshawn Lloyd ranks like he's the best combo of like size and strength and performance and all that. It's like he's got a lot of things going for him. And then you have visually too, like it doesn't hurt you look at the guy, like he just looks like a bigger version of like Frank Gore. He just looks like a running back that's like a running back's running back kind of guy, which is not a data point, but I do think for me, he's undervalued. And if I had to guess July, August, I think he goes a lot higher, but Corum might too. Like if Kyron ends up missing real time or ends up re-aggravating that in camp, like Corum could end up going in the 100s. So I think scooping up, we can't even get Aaron Rodgers in this draft.
Dude, what are we going to do at quarterback?
I think it's what this person, man, tough combo here. So this person unstacked Aaron Rodgers, which does nothing for your team, really functionally does nothing at all for your team. We're going to have to do Nick's. McCarthy's got nobody left to stack with. Carr, maybe like Carr, E.T. Perry.
Yeah.
May, obviously you could take May and take the shot on it.
Yeah, I mean, May with we could do May and Henry, May and one of the receivers. We already have so many receivers though, but yeah.
Well, anyway, Spears better on DK or drafters, PPR loads. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you have a shot that Tajay could take goal line work though, which is, I think, the big out for Tajay, given how bad Tony Pollard was last year. I don't think that was Dallas's fault quite as much as it was Tony Pollard not having that juice. But we'll see though. You know, Pollard's recovered from an injury. obviously here today. We're making the bet for him on stream. Tomorrow, though, I think it is going to be tomorrow. I'm going to do my drafters draft. So if you want to deposit for that, be in the mix tomorrow, because frankly, we need to fill the rooms for those ones. So drafters, promo code SPLASH on there, $100 deposit match. And it'll be, I think I'm going to do it on Saturdays. I might move the Spags rankings to Sunday. But we'll see. Got to figure some shit out. Okay.
I mean, we could go Senate.
We could get it. It's a nice bring back. Senate should be one of the picks no matter what. I think we can agree on that.
Do we keep pushing quarterback and play for a Bo Nix and just see what falls to us? I mean,
we could take Levis now and Boyd later. Maybe we don't really, we don't need the extra receivers besides maybe one.
I mean,
we could also set up Franklin and Nix, which I'd be okay with.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Because then we're done. We're like done at receiver. Maybe we add one more late. And
we're done at receiver. We're done at running back. Probably we could be done at tight end if we wanted to be.
Yeah.
I mean, quarterback, this is crazy. But
2 week 14 buys though, which is not going to be a thing that I'm terrified of. But if we wanted to take a third tight end and not take a zero, let's give this team a read, because we are going to have to do something heroic here. Zero RB Friday has gotten harrowing. We got Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., Marshawn Lloyd. At receiver, we have Drake London, Garrett Wilson, but we couldn't get Aaron Rodgers at normal ADP. Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Marquise Brown, Jameson Williams, Troy Franklin. I got to say, this is a really fucking explosive wide receiver group, so that's pretty fun. And at tight end, Dalton Schultz and Ben Sinnott. It's a fun team. We just got to have QBs.
Quarterback, what are we doing? But let's see. Yeah, because we're probably not going to be able to get – I was going to say we could do May and Henry, like I said. I mean, Bo Nix, Greg Dulcich. I'm down for it. I don't know. Where do you land on the Greg Dulcich wars? How do you feel about him?
I worry a little bit about him. So he's still not back out there. They expect him to be ready to go soon. They're hyping up Lucas Kroll. Lucas Kroll didn't show much in a small sample size last year, so it's not really somebody I'm terribly worried about. I don't know. Like, I think that Dulcich is still worth drafting if you're taking Knicks and you need a third tight end kind of thing. But I worry he's just like a zero again. Like, I wasn't huge on him last year. Just didn't think the price point. I wasn't viewing it the same way as people were. And I think for this year, he's draftable, but he's one of the more likely guys, I think, who gets drafted a good amount, who'd end up being a zero in week 17.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the I was like very into him in Dynasty, so I'm still like that is something where I need to just like whatever, get off of it. But where he's 18th round, especially if you compare him, if you drafted a Sutton or a Troy Franklin or a Mims earlier, or if you have some Bengals and you need a bring back, I definitely don't mind him. Not like a huge stand or anything, but I do think like it is a little bit ambiguous with maybe Sutton gets moved. Mims didn't show a ton. Franklin, I know you're a big Franklin guy, and I don't mind him, but it's like still 4th round receiver, so it's a little bit ambiguous. And I think he did look very good as a rookie, and then obviously the whole miss season isn't great. But I really like Bo Nix, so it's more just like going along with Bo Nix.
Yeah, look, I'm a big Bo Nix fan. I've been caping for him since I first looked at his data. Actually, I was caping for him last year because I was like, this guy looks shockingly good last year, and didn't end up coming out. Has one more year. Another potential stack, by the way. Juwan Johnson goes, so we won't have a shot at Carr late. Carr, E.T. Perry's still there. So, like, just to real fast talk about QB, we can go back to Bo Nix, and I guess Bo Nix ties in here. So we're live for Bo Nix as a stack still. We are live for... We could do like McCarthy, Josh Oliver, McCarthy, Robert Tonyan. You could do Bryce Young with Mingo. Could do Bryce Young with Jatavian Sanders would be a more logical one.
You know what? Yeah, we could do Bryce Young, Jatavian Sanders.
Here, let's pull up QBs to like really think this through. We still have Levis on the board, which would be good for us. Again, Boyd's out there.
We could go Geno Fant if Fant is still here.
Yeah, so it's going to be a QB tight end thing we try to do, I think. We need Bo Nix, really, is the one we need. And yeah, we could take Fields and hope that he gets there, but I would take Russ over Fields still.
I mean,
it's QBs anyway.
Do you want to go 2 QBs here, or you want to go the QB tight end?
I think let's see what comes back to us. But I think locking down 2 QBs in 15, 16, and then seeing what else we're going to do would be probably the more logical move. So yeah. But I don't want to, I don't think these guys in front of us are regulars, but I also don't think at this point, I feel like nobody else in the room needs QB beside us. It's really,
I mean, we got so locked out that we're kind of a little bit defended by the room already taking quarterbacks.
yeah. And Mims goes, so we're not going to be tempted by taking Mims for the Denver double, so we can survive with that. Tough for him. Tough for him. Well, I guess not tough on receiver. Tough on QBs. Tough on crime. All right, before this pick comes up, guys, quick pander, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Of course, all your engagements here help out quite a bit, especially right now with like the weird people that we talked about yesterday. I'm not going to dwell on too much. Getting very obsessive, both in terms of like personal threats on Twitter, as well as the dislikes and that. So your support means a lot. So please hit the subscribe, hit the like button and all that. Your boy Noah Fant goes, I think we take Will Levis with one of these. I think that's the move for that.
Yeah, I mean... Yeah.
Are you that down on Levis? You just don't want him at all?
No, I like Levis, but just unstacked. I don't know who we stack him with. I guess
we have Pollard.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
So we can survive. And then, we could also, again, you could take Boyd later if we want. We could also do, we could go with the correlation we already have and just take Knicks. Knicks we could push potentially, but.
Let's go Knicks. I don't mind at this point scrolling down a little bit.
And then if one of these guys falls, we could then just try to stack them up on the turn in the next thing. Okay, let's do it that way. All right, so we have a Will Levis Bo Nix team. So look, can these guys beat Josh Allen in week 17? That's the question I like to ask of any QB. I'm not so sold, but can the collective weight of them get us through a year? Yeah, I think that you could survive with Bo Nix and Will Levis. And you could survive if you have the talent we have at the other positions. But I do think winning a week 17 would be a little bit tough, this combo. But who knows? Honestly, the data, the Hayden Winks article you talked about a few times this week that he put up on the underdognetwork.com site this week, reviewing all the things in BBM that's worked in every Best Ball Mania previously. One of them is taking QBs a little bit later so than you even think. And really, fundamentally, it's been the big bet for me for years is that QB is pretty flat. You just need somebody who can give you 20 points correlated when it matters and have other things in your team hit. So we're there. What can we have done differently, Bindles? That's the question I'll ask.
Oh, man. I'm just trying to think because, what even... I think maybe I would have gone Engram instead of... where did we go? I forget. Can you scroll up because I forget it was Mixon and then who was the other guy we took right there?
We took Najee over Ingram and Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I feel like I probably would have went Engram since we already had one running back, and then we could have gotten a T-Law or something. I'm trying to think because then we maybe take another receiver that we can pair up. I'm trying to think. Not really. There's not. We could have taken, I don't know. That's maybe the one decision point if we went Engram and then just got a T-Law, but it's not like a huge one where you're like, oh man, I need the Evan Engram T-Law stack. So yeah, sometimes the room just doesn't play out how you want it to, and that's what's happening here. But that's okay. It happens.
Yeah, and I would say too, it's because we had later QBs. We didn't London. We didn't have to take Kirk at any point in the 80s, 90s. Wilson, we didn't have to take Rodgers, and frankly, again, I'm perfectly okay not taking him. And really, both guys, I can sort of live without. Tank Dell, we didn't have a shot at Stroud. Zay, we didn't have a shot at Lamar. Marquise Brown, we didn't have a shot at Mahomes. And then Jameson, we had a shot at Goff. I really thought what was going to happen here was that we would have Kirk and Goff and Rodgers kind of pushing back to us. And instead, they all went on that side of the board.
Yeah.
So just nobody fell to us in a pocket to take him. I will survive, but, QB stuff. And then losing Jaden Daniels, too, was pretty tough.
Yeah, I think that's the way to play it, though. It's just I'm always willing to push quarterback. So whatever. Maybe 1 out of every 10 or more drafts, you just get absolutely destroyed like this. But I do think that's the way you want to play it. You can build better teams if you push the quarterbacks you need farther, whether it's around the turn or just on the other side of the board, that someone's not going to take them or shouldn't take them. That's the way to play it. So yeah, we're shooting for the moon. We're not trying to just build an okay team. We're trying to hit the nuts in any single draft, and it doesn't always play out that way, but whatever. We can still get 3 quarterbacks here, and the rest of our team is really strong. So yeah, you never know what'll happen. And
Yeah, and it's possible like Will Levis can get a glow up. Like it is a pretty big coaching change for him going from the regressive Tennessee stuff that's been there for a while. And then, Will Levis had to deal with last year, even though they let him take deep shots downfield. Like it was deep shots and then it was just like check downs in a way that they didn't really, he had no shot to grow as a QB. And obviously some of that's protecting him from himself and protecting the team from him. But I think for Will Levis, like he has a shot to be better. And Bo Nix, believe in Denver. I do, maybe the bet with Troy Franklin's not enough for a Knicks single, but I think he's a starter week 1. Camp reports for him looking pretty good so far. Obviously, I think he didn't have the fucking even Tyler Boyd goes. I mean, not that we need to take him, but just cannot get the correlations at all. The stacks really cannot get it all. All right. So we got Drake May. Oh, no. Yeah. So Drake May is a week 14 bye. So that might be a little bit iffy there.
I feel like I'd go May and Douglas, or we could go Jones and if there's a Giants guy you like.
I would say Jones and Hyatt would be something because like tight end, we don't know. I would be okay taking one of their tight ends.
You like Jones over May? I'm like a big May guy. I don't
know. May is okay, but for this team, I think we need somebody who's going to be producing in the early parts of the year. And I just don't think May is necessarily a lock to start week 1.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to go Hyatt here. I like May more in general, yes. But like for this team where like Levis and Nix is really thin, we can't have a guy who like the Patriots might willfully oppress for a little bit too long. All right. So the final team here, a 3-5-8-2. So look, we got volume at QB. We made it up theoretically. Will Levis, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones could have won Pat Kareem BBM 2 years ago. Let's not forget that. So if we're going to sell the upside of this team, Daniel Jones can get there. And also, Drew Lock has looked very bad in camp so far. So not going to put distance in May between the two necessarily, but it does help Daniel Jones potentially for his run out. Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson Jr., Marshawn Lloyd at running back. Wide receiver, we got Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Tank Dell, Zay Flowers, Marquise Brown, Jamison Williams, Troy Franklin, Jalen Hyatt. And a tight end, Dalton Schultz and Ben Sinnott. So we did not get, we're going to lose Bindles. This is what it's going to cost us. No points from tight end in week 14. We're blown.
Those 5 points that we could have gotten are going to kill us.
The thing is, there's going to be so many spike weeks for Schultz and Sinnott. It doesn't even matter. These guys are going to have 20. You're going to be exchanging 20-point games every week. So we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I you know what, Daniel Jones, I think is going too low. Like, I just think the rushing upside, they bring in Neighbors, and I trust the coaching staff. So I mean, it's not sexy, right? Daniel Jones late is not sexy, but I do think it is a good play. So
he shouldn't be free, really. Like I think that's. I get he's going near Russ. I guess he and Russ kind of similar runouts, but I don't know. Like Jones, we know what he can do. The hope is he gets healthier over the course of a year, and maybe not being able to run actually forces him to drill in on the things that make him a better passer. This is a little bit of copium, but like I do think that there is still like there's a chance for Daniel Jones. Like this could be his Drew Brees getting Phillip Rivers drafted behind a moment that pushes him to be something more.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. So yeah, we got. I mean, I'm really. You were saying, are you not in on Levis? I'm really in on Levis. I mean, usually I would just want one receiver paired up, whether it's Ridley or D-Hop.
Or Boyd. Boyd would have been there too, but it is like I would have taken Boyd, I think, if he had fallen to us, and then one of these QBs, maybe I don't know. Yeah. Maybe Daniel Jones, honestly, because he could theoretically stand on his own.
I mean, we do have two guys that, like, Bo Nix is very underrated as a runner. 38 career rushing touchdowns in college, and like if you just watch like some of his highlights and stuff, like he's not just like he's like a mobile quarterback. Like he's like a really good running quarterback. In addition to everything he does in that Sean Payton offense, or can do in that Sean Payton offense. So yeah, I think two Konami guys, maybe Daniel Jones a little bit less coming off the ACL, but by the end of the season he should be. And then whatever, just Will Levis is an upside shot. So quarterback doesn't feel great, but I think we covered off as best we could given this room.
All right, Bindle. So we did our draft here. Of course, if whoever wants to be the next guest host, it's going to be one thing you can do. 5 stars interview for probably. I'll leave it in the pinned comments down below. That'll get you the next entry here. We'll do a giveaway in the middle half of next month. And whoever does leave 5 stars interview, we're going to get you on before the end of the summer. That is a promise here. So we'll do a marathon stream or something, or I'll book a bunch. But thinking about guests more in the summer months a little bit just to keep it fresh for me and hopefully for you guys as well. But stay tuned for that. But Bindles, give the plug. Of course, you're doing streams on the regular. You're booking guests. You got Pete Overzet, of course, coming up tonight at 9:30, right?
Yeah, we got Pete on tonight. Trying to have a bunch of guests on, just whatever, different parts of the community, whatever. There's obviously like ship chasing, but just like everyone, I want to have all different opinions and have people, push me off my priors and give me different takes. Started a new channel called Super Stack Bros with 2 other streamers, PPR Tyler and Best Ball Guy. So go check that out to kind of do more of the creative stuff and having like draft battles and stuff like that. But Spags, thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing and the grind that you're putting forth every single day. It's very admirable. Like, I'm doing a few streams a week, but like I don't think I could do every single day. So I really appreciate you and what you're doing over here.
And now we're going 6 days a week, so I can't stop. But shout out to you, Bindles, too. Of course, Bindles is a great part of this community, and really, I think you're one of the guys I would point to as an exemplary part, not just of like this show, but in general, the basketball community writ large, of collaborating, of going on other streams and stuff and trying to show people some love and all that. So really do subscribe to Bindles if you can. Check out his channel. Just search Bindles on YouTube. You'll find him pretty fast. But anything else you want to say here, Bindles, before I review my exposures, guys? I have to do that, and reading of names and all the other usual bullshit we do on a Friday.
Yeah, just shout out to the Squirt Squad, Tyler, Robert Griffin the Turd, Chunk the Deuce, all the regulars. Love the community, love the Squirt Squad, and really appreciate all you guys. So
go make sure to go follow Bindles, subscribe to Bindles. Bindles, what's the Twitter real fast too?
It's at Bindles90.
All right, so at Bindles90, go check him out right now. And of course, you'll see Bindles around in your local best ball streets. And really check him out with Pete tonight. That'll be a fun one. Pete, of course, you guys watch everything Pete does. So make sure to watch Bindles as part of that as well. And Bindles, appreciate you, buddy. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, see you. All right, so let's go. All right, so let's review some exposures, guys. We'll do the reading of names and all of that, and I'll not make Bindles suffer through my exposures. All right, so top 5 right now, Justin BBM. And, of course, I'm only drafting BBM right now. I'm not dabbling the other tournaments because, I couldn't get the pug anyway. We got Marshawn Lloyd, my number 1 overall, 53%. Of course, I've got him ranked higher than everybody else in the biz. That is showing right here on screen. So I'm going to continue to do it. As I told you guys, I think he's mispriced. That continues to be the case in my portfolio. Terry McLaurin, number 2, 43% for him. So staying around that 40% range. At a certain point, I'll dial it back, but I think McLaurin can come up. He's starting to come up a little bit in a lot of rooms. We'll see what happens over the course of the summer. Wish he were the one who caught that deep ball instead of Jahan Dotson. Jaden Daniels at number 3. I think he comes up again. OTA is looking good. You're getting the highlights. You're going to get the highlights from him because he is a clean thrower. I think the best pure passer in this class. We're going to see that. Troy Franklin, I need to ramp down the bet a little bit. We need some more surging news about him for you to feel confident in him getting where he needs to go in terms of the depth chart. But it does seem ambiguous running back room, ambiguous depth chart at wide receiver for Denver. They're going in for competition, so Franklin can win it. It's just a matter of, does he win it? That's still a probability-based bet. And Brian Robinson is my number 5 overall, 36.7% for him. We talked about him with Bindles. The bet remains the same. QBs overall, we got Jaden Daniels, 40%, Bo Nix, 20%. So more Bo Nix coming into the bag today with me with Bindles. Anthony Richardson, people saying, hey, have I sold Anthony Richardson down to River for Jaden Daniels? No, it's just that Jaden Daniels is cheaper. He represents what I want to do with my portfolio in 2024. AR at his price tag, especially if he's going to keep falling a little bit more towards 60, let alone 70, I'll get my shares of AR, and they'll probably end up the only 2 QBs I go absolutely nuts for, I guess, besides bailout Bo Nix. Bryce Young, another bailout. Of course, I like taking my second QB late. Willing to do 3 QBs late. Bryce Young is one of those guys. And Caleb is my number 5 here, tied with Kyler Murray. So probably out of all the guys you guys out there like, AR, Kyler going to be the ones. And those are my stands above the field, most noteworthy. And I guess I'm now over the field on Will Levis. So what a treat for me. Top 5 running backs right now: Marshawn Lloyd, Brian Robinson Jr., David Montgomery, Audric Estime. So Montgomery and Estime. Estime's too cheap. Report come out from Ben Albright yesterday. I guess it wasn't really a report, more him speculating. But he speculates that Audric Estime is the RB2 right now. He thinks he costs Samaje Perine his job and perhaps takes the Perine role, which is a little bit odd because he's not a pure pass catcher. But either way, it seems like Estime's in the mix. I think the talent, as long as he's getting on the field, getting a shot to show what he can do. That's why he was a plus EPA player in college. That's why he was the guy that stood out to me. He's going to show it on the field. So Estime, I'm going to keep making the bet. Don't know that it should be a 26.7% bet, though. That's for me. Probably shouldn't be for you. And Ezekiel Elliott tied with James Conner for my number 5. Some dusty backs there, but guys, I believe have enough share of their backfields. Rico Dowdle working with the first team. Trey Benson, I haven't heard any reports about that yet. I don't actually really haven't been a lot of Cardinals reports out there, I think, that I've seen, besides Marvin Harrison being there. But James Conner, to me, safer than people realize, at least for scoring touchdowns for an Arizona team that should be better. P. Ryan Roll probably means pass blocking. Well, great. Whatever. He's on the field. I don't know, man. I still think that Estime winning the goal line role is the main bet, but if he's number 2 in the depth chart, according to one of the top, sourced guys there, Ben Albright, I want to do it. My wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, Troy Franklin, we talked about those guys. Luke McCaffrey, who is not one of my favorite plays, as I've talked about a lot. If you go to a smaller school, Luke McCaffrey went to Rice. You should dominate. You should be like the top dog. McCaffrey's not that, so but it's a Jaden bet. That's why it happens. I would like to be flatter with Luke and Jade and Jahan Dotson because I think they're the same bet. But really, that's my main thing. It's a problem for me, not for you. Drake London, surprised to see him this high, but he does fall a lot that 1-2 turn range as well. Sometimes middle of the second round. I'll scoop him up wherever. Correlates with Washington. Washington Atlanta is my big week 17 bet, and that'll probably continue until the price tags start to move around. And then Marvin Mims is number 5. The bet on Bo Nix continues to be strong here. If I'm making it correlated. I am making it correlated. Tight end, we've got to get rid of receivers. Ben Sinnott, 33%. Dalton Schultz, 33%. We saw him in this draft with Bindles. My tendencies on full display here. Those guys I like a lot at their price points. Brock Bowers, 20%. Eric Bienfor put out a tweet saying, are we sleeping on Brock Bowers too much? I'm not. I think that the public is a little bit here. Guy with great draft capital who's one of the best tight end prospects who's ever come into football. Now he's coming into the NFL, and we're scared of, I don't know what, the Raiders being bad. Either way, for me, Brock Bowers, great pick to have at pick 100 right now. And then we have Jatavian Sanders, Sam Laporta, Jonnu Smith, Trey McBride tied as my number 4. So those guys, greatly different players, but you can see the bets that I do like. Elite tight end, elite young tight end with Laporta and McBride. Cheap guy, hopefully on the upswing in Jatavian Sanders. Cheap guy attached to a good offense in Jonnu Smith. And then Noah Fant, my technical number 5 here with 13%. So that's all of them, guys. So there we go. Let's do the old plugs. Promo code SPLASH and Underdog up to $250 in bonus cash. Go check that out for yourself. Please do. Tomorrow also we'll be hitting the streets of drafters. So watch out for the stream coming. It's going to be the same time, I believe, at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be doing drafters on a Saturday, Memorial Day weekend. I don't have any booze in the house, so I'll just be here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll be something fun to do for myself, if nothing else on a Saturday. But hey, I'm drafting out drafters. It can't get more fun. Great rate back on there. Do all that stuff. Drafters, $100 deposit match with promo code SPLASH. And the reading of names, the long part here. There we go, this Bindles. All right, shout out to our guy Bindles. Make sure to go check out his stream with Pete as well while we're doing the plugs. And all right, reading of names, the biggest reading of names yet. So shout out to all you guys who've joined the channel, especially after yesterday's video. A lot of kind comments, people following up and actually joining, putting your money where your mouth is while we're dealing with people who are a little angry in an election year. I get it, but we move on here. You too can join this elite community here and get VIP Discord access, 10 team reviews a month, and my updated Spags rankings that I put out every weekend, including this weekend. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow, but tomorrow or Saturday, do Spags rankings. So shout out to Robert Griffin III, Historical Anomalies, Matthew Emerson, Tyler, CLN, Mathology, Rupesh, Willis is awesome, Ivan Black, Port, Tony Mark, aka Io, Rob Van Natten, Brandon Wagner, Consigliere, Aaron D, our guy Nez who's here earlier, Jake Twitchell, fucking Alpha, Mr. I'm the KY, Sammy Telesco TV, Kevin Castro, Lateralis, Lunchbowl Connoisseur, Short Gamer, Carlos, Felix, Chunk, Gabe Davis, who I now know the identity of Gabe Davis. I won't tell you guys, but I know who he is. Bindles, who's just here. Frankie Frank, Nolan, Thomas Schultz, Spurious News, Laces Out, Kent Lewis, Jeff F., Christopher, Craig B., Hoosier Devo, Jason Neff, Michael Thomas, Bodybag Jones, Jay, Jaden, our guy, Kyler, Wounded Geese, Steel City Blue, Thomas Avery, W for Omega, Tanner Wise, Benjamin Bay, Chris, a great name, Artillery Frost, Ben Bauer, Zapped, Mike Rickle, D. Owen, Space Donut, Meatwad, OG1 Kenobis, Kyle Zoof. We're getting Zoofed once again. Feeling moosey. Nick Stevens, DQ, Touch of Green, Justin Dupengeister, Eric Macklin, Byborg, Adam, Mr. Poopy Butthole, Dylan Holzer, Mr. FFB Holes there, T-Wiss, Tim Souders, Dylan, Broncos, Rough Buff Fire, Joe the Show, and Mike Robb. All you guys helped me put on the show this week, and I appreciate you for it. And again, that's a lot. It's a lot to read now. An exercise that I will do every week just to show my adoration for you all. I don't care how long the list gets, and I guess make me earn it by hitting the join button down below, $49 a month, and get all access to all those great things we just talked about. And of course, if you are gaming, game responsibly. And of course, also don't forget, I am a 4-time BBM and DK finalist. So follow me at Chris Spags. Follow us at Splash Play Pod. Don't leave me any weird comments. People who have certain political views, please. Let's all take a Memorial Day weekend. Let's all enjoy ourselves, not be toxic weirdos. But I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow with more on Drafters. So I'll see you guys then. Enjoy your days and good luck. Bye-bye.